Oh, I'm live. What's up? I feel like it's light again. I mean, this is just the best we got, right? I guess I could have turned that light on over there, maybe. Okay, what's up? I don't see any in the chat, so I don't know if the chat is broken or if y'all just aren't saying good morning. But good morning. It is your girl, Pastor Courage Molina, coming to you with day 21 of the day of the chronological Bible reading plan. We are going to read Genesis chapter 27 through 29. Yeah, if y'all are putting something in the chat, live chat. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Good morning. I can see it now. Still in Raleigh, which is nice. I'll be here. I guess I'll leave tomorrow. I thought I was leaving today, but I guess I'll leave tomorrow. Um, let's get into this. I feel like I need to push this back a little bit. Yeah. Genesis chapter 27. One day, when Isaac was old and turning blind, he called for Esau, his older son, and said, "My son." "Yes, father," Esau replied. "I am an old man now," Isaac said, "and I don't know when I may die. Take your bow and quiver full of arrows and go out into the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare my favorite dish and bring it here for me to eat. Then I will pronounce the blessing that belongs to you, my firstborn son, before I die." But Rebekah overheard what Isaac had said to his son Esau. So when Esau left to hunt for the wild game, she said to her son Jacob, "Listen, I overheard your father say to Esau, 'Bring me some wild game and prepare me a delicious meal. Then I will bless you in the Lord's presence before I die.' Now, my son, listen to me. Do exactly as I tell you. Go out to the flocks and bring me 2 fine young goats. I'll use them to prepare your father's favorite dish. Then take the food to your father so he can eat it and bless you before he dies." "But look," Jacob replied to Rebekah, "my brother Esau is a hairy man and my skin is smooth. What if my father touches me? He'll see that I'm trying to trick him and then he'll curse me instead of blessing me." But his mother replied, "Then let the curse fall on me, my son. Just do what I tell you. Go out and get the goats for me." So Jacob went out and got the young goats for his mother. Rebekah took them and prepared a delicious meal just the way Isaac liked it. Then she took Esau's favorite clothes, which were there in the house, and gave them to her young son Jacob. She covered his arms and the smooth part of his neck with the skin of the young goats. Then she gave Jacob the delicious meal, including freshly baked bread. So Jacob took the food to his father. "My father," he said. "Yes, my son," Isaac answered. "Who are you, Esau or Jacob?" Jacob replied, "It's Esau, your firstborn son. I've done as you've told me. Here is the wild game. Now sit up and eat it so you can give me your blessing." Isaac asked, "How did you find it so quickly, my son?" "The Lord your God put it in my path," Jacob replied. Just these lies is a lot. I mean, it's really a lot of lying going on here. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Come closer so I can touch you and make sure that you really are Esau." So Jacob went closer to his father, and Isaac touched him. "The voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau's," Isaac said. But he did not recognize Jacob because Jacob's hands felt hairy just like Esau's. So Isaac prepared to bless Jacob. "But are you really my son Esau?" he asked. "Yes, I am," Jacob replied. Then Isaac said, "Now, my son, bring me the wild game. Let me eat it, and then I will give you my blessing." So Jacob took the food to his father, and Isaac ate it. He also drank the wine that Jacob served him. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come a little closer and kiss me, my son." So Jacob went over and kissed him. And when Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, he was finally convinced, and he blessed his son. He said, "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of the outdoors, which the Lord has blessed. From the dew of heaven and the richness of the earth, may God always give you abundant harvest of grain and bountiful new wine. May many nations become your servants, and may they bow down to you. May you be the master over your brothers, and may your mother's son bow down to you. All who curse you will be cursed, and all who bless you will be blessed." As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and almost before Jacob had left his father, Esau returned from his hunt. Esau prepared a delicious meal and brought it to his father. Then he said, "Sit up, my father, and eat my wild game so you can give me your blessing." But Isaac asked him, "Who are you?" Esau replied, "It's your first son. It's your son, your firstborn son, Esau." Isaac began to tremble uncontrollably and said, "Then who just served me wild game? I've already eaten it, and I've blessed him just before you came. And yes, that blessing must stand." When Esau heard his father's words, he let out a loud and bitter cry. "Oh, my father, what about me? Bless me too," he begged. But Isaac said, "Your brother was here, and he tricked me. He has taken away your blessing." Esau exclaimed, "No wonder his name is Jacob, for now he has cheated me twice. First, he took my rights as the firstborn, and now he has stolen my blessing. Oh, haven't you saved even one blessing for me?" Isaac said to Esau, "I have made Jacob your master and have declared that all his brothers will be his servants. I have guaranteed him an abundance of grain and wine. What is left for me to give you, my son?" Esau pleaded, "But do you have only one blessing? Oh, my father, bless me too." Then Esau broke down and wept. Finally, his father Isaac said to him, "You will live away from the richness of the earth and away from the dew of the heaven above. You will live by your sword and you will serve your brother. But when you decide to break free, you will shake his yoke from your neck." From that time on, Esau hated Jacob because their father had given Jacob the blessing. And Esau began to scheme, "I will soon be mourning my father's death. Then I will kill my brother Jacob." But Rebekah heard about Esau's plans. So she sent for Jacob and told him, "Listen, Esau is consoling himself by plotting to kill you. So listen carefully, my son. Get ready and flee to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay there with him until your brother cools off. When he calms down and forgets what you have done to him, I will send for you to come back. Why should I lose both of you in one day?" Then Rebekah said to Isaac, "I'm sick and tired of these local Hittite women. I would rather die than see Jacob marry one of them." Yes, Jacob does get a bad rep, but he was also a grown man. He was old. He wasn't a kid. He was like, these are old men. He wasn't like 20. You know what I'm saying? Just because my mama tell me to do something, cheat my brother, don't mean I'm gonna cheat my brother. I just talked to these young cousins the other day um about some nonsense they got going on. I'm like, y'all knew, but y'all didn't say anything. And Kyra's like, "Mom, do you really think that we gonna snitch on her? We not." You know what I'm saying? It was like they still like they have this cousin sibling relationship. They do not care about what we think they should be telling us. What the stuff we're like, okay, but at some point, don't y'all think y'all should get us involved? No, they don't think that. They not telling. They holding it. They holding it. They holding it till they die. I guess. Oh, so annoying. I'm like, well, at least y'all dummies got each other, the blind leading the dang on blind. But you know what can you do? So, like, the mom is a mess, the son is a mess, the dad, it's so sad. But it just also makes me think. I always used to wonder, like, okay, so I accidentally gave you the blessing, or not even accidentally, like, you literally tricked me into blessing you. You stole. You know what I'm saying? Like you bamboozled yourself, your way into this blessing. I just don't know how he still honors that. But it is for me, it just reveals the power of the words that we speak and the power of the covenant that we make. It makes me think of marriage. Right? It makes me think of marriage. Um I know a lot of times it's like, okay, I made this covenant or I made this, whatever. I entered into this marriage and I said, yes. I just literally had this conversation with actually a husband. I don't talk to a lot of husbands, but sometimes every once in a while, I get a husband. Um and I was like, you said for better or for worse, and this is worse. Like you made a vow, and even though all of these other things happened, you are going back on what you said you were going to do. And I think this shows us, like, even though he got bamboozled or whatever, he gave the blessing. He didn't take the blessing back. He was like, this is the covenant, this is the blessing, and it will stand. What I said will stand. That's how we have to be with our words. That's why it's so important for us to not be careless with our words, not to say things. We talk about the power of life and death lies in our tongue, but even when it's just a joke. I saw this this recipe on Instagram, probably this morning. This recipe on Instagram, and it's called the Widow Maker's white chicken chili. And I just looked at it. I was like, oh, I never served that. I would never serve that. The recipe looked good and all of that. I was like, mm-mm. Even if I serve something similar, I promise you the recipe is going to have a different name. The Widow Maker's, no, Widow Maker? Make me a widow? I know it's just like, oh, the lady was like, oh, it's a Southern. I never heard it before, but it doesn't mean it's not Southern. Oh, it's a Southern saying for something. It's a Southern saying for like something that's spicy. Okay, I get that, but that right there just bothered me. I'm just not making it. Like it's cool. First of all, my husband don't like no white chicken chili, no way. But I ain't making it right. Words don't have a sense of humor. And we say stuff all the time, it's a saying or whatever. Um like we do that, but this right here just goes to show like there are power in our words and there is power in the commitments that we make. So we shouldn't, it's not that we should break them when people do wrong. We should not enter into them so quickly. If somebody don't have time, if somebody can't give you the opportunity to think and to pray on something that you need to think and pray on, say no. Right? Marriage is to be for life. That's right. You said for better or for worse. So just so you know, when that worst come, be like, oh, this it right here. This is the worst that I signed up for. It's like we just have to be so careful with the words that we say. We have to be careful with the covenants that we get into. It's the thing I say all the time. Like it's really about your choice. Now that you made a choice, now we're here. Now you married. Couldn't nobody stop you from getting married. Couldn't nobody have pulled you to the side. You would have ended some friendships, some relationships. And people have been like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. It's like all of these things, but now you in it and now you want to leave it. But the thing is, like, that's why selection is so important. That's why waiting. And if you cannot give me time to think and pray about it, it's an easy no for me. Oh, Courage, I was wondering if you could do such and such and such. Yeah, give me a couple days. Can I let you know on Friday? No, we kind of need an answer right now. Oh, okay. Well, the answer is no. We really need you. Because once I say yes, I've said yes. And I need some time to think right now. Sometimes people come to you with such a sense of urgency, right? They come with such a sense of urgency, they can make you feel like you have to nah, anything that requires me to answer right now and I'm not ready to answer, it's an easy no. The answer is easy. It's no. You doing it? No, I ain't doing it. Oh, we really need you. Okay, that's cool, but I ain't gonna be able to do it because you can't give me time. I mean, I can't do it. All right, chapter 28. Remember to like this video if you like this video. Chapter 28. So Isaac called for Jacob, blessed him, and said, you must not marry any of these Canaanite women. Instead, go at once to Padam Aram, to the house of your grandfather Bethuel, and marry one of your uncle Laban's daughters. May God Almighty bless you and give you many children, and may your descendants multiply and become many nations. May God pass on to you and your descendants the blessings he promised to Abraham. May you own this land where you are now living as a foreigner, for God gave this land to Abraham. So Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Padam Aram to stay with his uncle Laban, his mother's brother, the son of Bethuel the Aramean. Esau knew that his father Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him to Padan Aram to find a wife, and that he warned Jacob, you must not marry a Canaanite woman. He also knew that Jacob had obeyed his parents and gone to Padan Aram. It was now very clear to Esau that his father did not like the local Canaanite women. So Esau visited his uncle Ishmael's family. His uncle Ishmael, you know who that is, right? He is Hagar's son, Abraham's other baby, his granddaddy, other baby. So Esau visited his uncle Ishmael's family and married one of Ishmael's daughters in addition to the wives he already had. His new wife's name was Mahalath. She was the sister of Nebaioth and the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son. Meanwhile, Jacob left Beersheba and traveled toward Haran. At sundown, he arrived at a good place to set up camp and stop there for the night. Jacob found a stone to rest his head against and lay down to sleep. As he slept, he dreamed of a stairway that reached from the earth up to heaven, and he saw the angels of God going up and down the stairway. At the top of the stairway stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your grandfather Abraham and the God of your father Isaac. The ground you are lying on belongs to you. I'm giving it to you and your descendants. Your descendants will be as numerous as the dust of the earth. They will spread out in all directions to the west and the east, to the north and the south. And all the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your descendants. What's more, I am with you, and I will protect you wherever you go. One day I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have finished giving you everything I have promised you. Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I wasn't even aware of it. But he was also afraid and said, what an awesome place this is. It is none other than the house of God, the very gateway to heaven. The next morning, Jacob got up very early. He took the stone he had rested his head against, and he set it upright as a memorial pillar. Then he poured olive oil over it. He named the place Bethel, which means house of God, although it was previously called Luz. Then Jacob made this vow: if God will indeed be with me and protect me on this journey, and if he will provide me with the food, if he will provide me with food and clothing, and if I return safely to my father's home, then the Lord will certainly be my God. This is a lot of stuff, ain't it? I mean, this is a lot of stuff. Then I'm going to say this again. Then Jacob made his vow: if God will indeed be with me, if you're going to be with me and protect me on my journey, and if you're going to give me food and clothing, and if I return safely from my father's home, then the Lord will certainly be my God. If you do all, I know that you're the Lord and you hear, and the Lord is in this place, but if you do all of these things, then you will be my God. And this memorial pillar I have set up will become a place for worshiping God, and I will present to God a tenth of everything he gives me. If you do all of this, God, then I'll make you my God. If you do all of this, if you do all of this stuff after my cheating and lying tale, I've been out here doing nothing but cheating, lying, stealing, conniving. But I know you in this place. But if you would do all of these things, then I will follow you. Then I will make you my God. Then I will present a God. Then I will present to you a tenth of everything that you give me. That's kind of something. I wonder how many of us have a when then. When you do this, then I'll do that. I wonder how many of us, and it's not to say that God can't bless you. Obviously, we know the story of Jacob, he's going to be very blessed. But the question is, what type of person do you want to be? You know what I'm saying? We all got choices to make. Do you want to be the type where it's like, oh, I ain't doing it unless I feel like that is a weak level. I don't want to be weak. I feel like that's a weak level. I mean, I'm not judging y'all. I'm saying for me, I think that's very weak. Like, you weak. You got to do this in order for me to follow you. If you do this, then like the Lord has already done so much, he ain't got to do nothing else for you with your little wretched behind. You know what I'm saying? Is that just how I feel? It's just me. You just lied to your daddy and stole your brother's blessing, and then you're gonna come over here with some conditions. This is really, people really be like this, and we people, y'all. Maybe it may not look like this, but we people. Chapter 29, our last chapter for today. Then Jacob hurried on, finally arriving in the land of the east. He saw a well in the distance, 3 flocks of sheep and goats laying in open fields beside it, waiting to be watered. But a heavy stone covered the mouth of the well. It was the custom there to wait for all the flocks to arrive before removing the stone and watering the animals. After the stone would be placed back over the mouth of the well, Jacob went over to the shepherds and asked, where are you from, my friends? We are from Haran, they answered. Do you know a man there named Laban, the grandson of Nahor? He asked. Yes, we do, they replied. Is he doing well? Jacob asked. Yes, he's well, they answered. Look, here comes his daughter Rachel with the flock now. Jacob said, look, it's still broad daylight, too early to round up the animals. Why don't you water the sheep and goats so they can get back out to pasture? We can't water the animals until all the flocks have arrived, they replied. Then the shepherds moved the stone from the mouth of the well, and we water all the sheep and goats. Jacob was still talking with them when Rachel arrived with her father's flock, for she was a shepherd. And because Rachel was his cousin, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and because the sheep and goats belonged to his uncle Laban, Jacob went over to the well and moved the stone from its mouth and watered his uncle's flock. Then Jacob kissed Rachel, and she wept aloud. He explained to Rachel that he was her cousin on her father's side, the son of her aunt Rebecca. So Rachel quickly ran and told her father Laban. The men usually roll the stone away together because it's kind of heavy. But Jacob sees her. He's like, "Ooh, she's so fine. Let me show her my muscles, I suppose. I don't really know." And so he moves it by himself so that she can water her flock. And then he kisses her like, "I just don't like it." You ever read the Bible and be like, "I ain't feeling it. I'm just not feeling this. I'm not. I'm not." I already kind of don't like Jacob that much because he think he's slick. And the man just told him, "Well, we don't do it that way. This is how we do it." And he coming over here trying to do things different. And then he kissing her. "How you kissing me, sir? You do not know me. You know my people." I ain't feeling it. I'm not feeling it. You know what I'm saying? She wept. I mean, and no, and he wept. Rachel, and he wept aloud. You kiss her, and he like, I don't even understand it. I mean, it's probably because I don't like him that much. But let me try again. Let me give me hold on. Let me find some grace. Let me find some grace for Jacob. Let me find some grace for. Well, first of all, they all related, Taryn. Everybody's related. That's dated and married. Isaac is related to Rebecca. They all related. So everybody's a cousin or something. Yeah, it's not a sibling, but they all cousins, girl. They daddies. Abraham, what else? They were actually siblings. Abraham and Sarah, they were siblings. Isaac and Rebecca, they were siblings. And here these cousins go. So it's only yuck to y'all because it's 2022. I mean, it's yuck to me, but I don't count because it's also 2022. You know what I'm saying? Um. Okay. Let me see if I can give Jacob some. Like maybe he just saw her. You know, he did this thing. He's stolen this blessing. You know, he didn't do the right thing. Now he's on the run for his life. I'm not really sure how he thought it was going to play out. Him sneaking and conniving to steal his brother's blessing after he already had his birthright. Now that was on Esau, but after he already had his brother's birthright, I just don't know how he thought it was going to go, what kind of brotherly relationship he thought they were going to have. After that, I mean, certainly he's got to know that Cain killed Abel for less. So I don't know. So maybe he's starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed, you know, and rightfully so. Maybe starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed. And so now he's there and he feels like he has seen this woman, this girl that he's gonna marry. His dad sent him there to find a wife. And maybe upon seeing her, he realized that the Lord is still with him in spite of his wretchedness. Sometimes when I'm in church and you know, they singing a song or whatever, and I just start crying. I be boohoo crying because I be thinking like, man, sometimes the spirit just reminds me of all the things I have ever said and done in my life that was just not cool. That's just grimy, just wrong thinking, wrong attitude, wrong behavior. And the Lord still continue to keep and bless me. That right there will evoke a certain level of worship and praise when I think about my sin and how far I am from God. You know what I'm saying? And so when I see something and it's like, okay, but God is really blessing you, or you feel so unworthy. Maybe there's a part of him that feels unworthy. Maybe he didn't feel like he was going to get a blessing. Maybe that's the only way he thought he could get it was from conniving. Because if I believe that God has great things for me, then I don't really need to manipulate and steal, right? I don't think that healthy minded people who believe that they can have great things actually steal and connive. I think those are people that, you know, got self-esteem issues and don't believe that they can get it any other way. They talk themselves into justifying why they can, you know, do some of the deplorable things that they do, but it's really about their own ugliness. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe when he saw her and realized that God had shown him goodness and mercy, even while he was on the run because of all the dirt he did, he was overwhelmed by that, right? Like sometimes you can feel unworthy and then you see something or God does something for you and you're like, man, even in all of that, you still continue to blessed me. So maybe that's why that's why he wept. So, verse 14, Laban exclaims, no, 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 no. He wept. He explained to Rachel that he was her cousin and she went to go tell her father. Verse 13. As soon as Laban heard that his nephew Jacob had arrived, he ran out to meet him. He embraced and kissed him and brought him home. When Jacob had told him his story, Laban exclaimed, "You really are my own flesh and blood." After Jacob had stayed with Laban for about a month, Laban said to him, "You shouldn't work for me without pay just because we are relatives. Tell me how much your wages should be." Now Laban had two daughters. The older daughter was named Leah, and the younger one was Rachel. There was no sparkle in Leah's eyes, but Rachel had a beautiful figure and a lovely face. Since Jacob was in love with Rachel, he told her father, "I'll work for you for 7 years if you'll give me Rachel, your younger daughter, as my wife." "Agreed," Laban replied. "I'd rather give her to you than to anyone else. Stay and work with me." So Jacob worked 7 years to pay for Rachel, but his love for her was so strong that it seemed to him but a few days. Finally, the time came for him to marry her. "I have fulfilled my agreement," Jacob said to Laban. "Now give me my wife so I can sleep with her." So Laban invited everyone in the neighborhood and prepared a wedding feast. But that night, when it was dark, Laban took Leah to Jacob and he slept with her. Laban had given Leah a servant, Zilpah, to be her maid. But when Jacob woke up in the morning, it was Leah. "What have you done to me?" Jacob raged at Laban. "I worked 7 years for Rachel. Why have you tricked me?" "It's not our custom here to marry off a younger daughter ahead of the firstborn," Laban replied. "But wait until the bridal week is over. Then we'll give you Rachel too, provided you promise to work another 7 years for me." So Jacob agreed to work 7 more years. A week after Jacob had married Leah, Laban gave him Rachel too. Laban gave Rachel a servant, Bilhah, to be her maid. So Jacob slept with Rachel too, and he loved her much more than Leah. He then stayed and worked for Laban the additional 7 years. When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, he enabled her to have children, but Rachel could not conceive. So Leah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Reuben. She said, "The Lord has noticed my misery, and now my husband will love me." She soon became pregnant again and gave birth to another son. She named him Simeon, for she said, "The Lord heard that I was unloved and has given me another son." Then she became pregnant a third time and gave birth to another son. He was named Levi, for she said, "Surely this time my husband will feel affection for me, since I have given him 3 sons." Once again, Leah became pregnant and gave birth to another son. She named him Judah, for she said, "Now I will praise the Lord." And then she stopped having children. I mean, I mean, um, right. It just keep, I mean, okay, so you can see like a family pattern of lying, manipulation. I love that it shows that, because you would think that the Lord would use and choose the most perfect people, and this is proof that perfection is not required, that he chooses who he chooses, right? And then he grows their character through whatever ways he deems necessary. But God chooses who he chooses, and we don't need to be perfect. I love not so much that Jacob is such a liar, but I feel like I don't be lying like that. So I ain't trying to steal from nobody. I ain't trying to, do none of that. So the Lord did and blessed them and kept his promises to them. Certainly he will keep his promises to me, right? Or when I mess up, it's like, okay, maybe I messed up. When I tell y'all reading Old Testament freed me from so much church drunk like trash, that we are told this idea that you have to be perfect and that every little step you make, feel like Bobby Brown, every little step you make is going to determine whether you're blessed or not blessed, and all of these things. And if you get it wrong, or if you do this, you're going to hell. You're going to hell. Like, you're going to hell for everything. And the Lord ain't blessing you unless you standing on this perfect straight line. Like, all of this stuff. I am not saying, I'm not giving you free reign to be out here wilding out, but I'm saying the word is what the word is, though. Like, you don't have to like it. You don't have to like that Jacob got blessed, even though he stole from his brother. Maybe your brother stole from you. You don't have to like that the uncle put the other sister in there after that man worked 7 years. Maybe somebody cheated you. You don't have to like that your sister went in the room. He might not have known she wasn't Rachel, but Leah knew she wasn't Rachel, right? You might not like that Leah was able to have all these kids and Rachel wasn't able to have these kids because Rachel hadn't done anything, right? Like, you can have whatever type of attitude you want to have, right? You can have whatever attitude you want to have about it. But what you can see is imperfect people living out their life and God blessing them according to his riches and glory. God blessing them according to his purpose, continuing to show them grace, right? Now, there's some punishment here with Jacob, that he stayed and worked for 7 years and then his uncle cheated him. I think it's so funny. He's so mad he got cheated. I wonder if he stopped for a second and thought about how he cheated his brother. Sometimes you get cheated and you forgot about that time. Sometimes you wasn't that nice and you forgot about that time. You know what I'm saying? You mad because somebody wasn't kind to you, but you forgot about such and such. Or you mad because somebody did this or didn't do that, but guess what? You remember that time you ain't do this and do that. I wonder if when people cheat us, if we think of the times that we were the villain in somebody's story. I wonder if we can remember the time where we were the villain in somebody's story, whether intentional or unintentional, right? That's why I love Old Testament, because I'm like, these saints out here, these super sanctified folks out here, really out here making it seem like if you're not perfect, the Lord don't love you. But these people are so like reality TV. They're not even gonna be on Bravo. They're gonna be on Zeus. Y'all know about Zeus? I be seeing all these clips. Let me stop saying that so loud because y'all know the phones be listening. I be seeing so many clips with them, and they the most wretched clips. I'm like, these people wilding out. It's entertaining, but these people wild. That's what this looked like to me. Girl, don't even look it up, Marissa. It's wretched, wretched, wretched. It's beyond. It is so beyond anything that I've ever seen. It's the TV network, like Bravo's a TV network, but they do a lot of reality TV or whatever. And one of my younger girls, she probably like in her 20s. She's like, Miss Molina, you ain't watching this? I'm like, no. She's like, why don't you watch the reunion and then we can talk about it? I'm like, I don't watch it, so I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, it's the young people know all about it. And ever since me and her talked about it, I be seeing that crap on my Facebook all the time. I'm like, girl, this crap trying to pull me back to when I watch ratchet TV. This right here is ratchet. You lied to your mama. Let's just go back. So first of all, Abraham, he was lying all the time about his wife Sarah being his sister, and let the Pharaoh take his wife who was not his sister and let him keep her, for however long. Now, while he did not touch her, Abraham didn't know that. And then he got all this money. That seems kind of like a pimp situation. If this was present day, I would be saying, what kind of husband allows for their wife? Why are you trying to pretend like we just friends, like we cousins? Now this man got me in his house and then he gonna give you this money for me. Like, no, that's not cool. That's not okay. But it was okay, right? Did it more than one time. Then comes their son. Then he get this girl pregnant. Ishmael's mama. Now Sarah mad. You know what I'm saying? Now she want to mistreat the girl, but she was your slave. She didn't give herself freely, like just all this mistreatment. And then the girl, now she pregnant. Now she like, nanny boo boo. You know what I'm saying? Then he has Isaac. Then Isaac gets a wife, Rebecca, and then he do the same thing. The Lord tells him something. The Lord gives him a promise and a blessing. Now he in these folks' house lying. He's telling these folks this his sister. Then got caught, and guess what? Got all this money and all these. He's a pimp just like his daddy, right? Then here they go. They done had these boys, Jacob and Esau. Now the wife helps the son that she likes the most, that she favors. She helps him not only to betray his brother, but to betray her husband. She conniving against her own husband for these kids. It's crazy to me. Then the brother do it. Now the other brother want to kill somebody, want to kill him. Now you done run off. Now you mad because somebody cheated you, but you cheated your brother twice. Right? You cheated your brother twice. Now you mad. Now Laban, you're gonna tell this boy, oh, you happy to give him Rachel. Why didn't you tell him? But we got to get this first one married first. You got a homeboy, you know somebody? Because we got to marry this older one off. That's how we do it over here. Or you're gonna take both of them. Because if you want her, you got to take the other one. What kind of dad wants that life for his child? I guess, marriage is just different back then, what marriage was about and the way that they needed to live. You know what I'm saying? But why you ain't just tell that boy that he had to marry Leah too? It's a package deal. Can't get the hot dog without the buns. You know what I'm saying? Why you ain't just say that? Why you telling this boy, oh yeah, I'm gonna let you do it, but you gotta stay here and work for me for 7 years. So now the boy didn't stay there, work for you for 7 years. You know, maybe he already know he cheated his brother. Maybe there was a gossip train that went by. Maybe Laban was like, oh, he ain't no good. This old Joe Lab, he ain't no good. Let me get some work out of him. And then I'm gonna do the switcheroo. So maybe maybe he knew about his reputation because he knew who he was or realized who he was. Who knows? Who know? I know they didn't have Facebook. I know that Esau did not post on Facebook and tag Jacob. Let me tell you about this grimy dog right here. What he did, So maybe he didn't know, but he lied to him. His uncle, who he was there, they made an agreement before he started working. He did all the work for him, like he said. 7 years. Okay, give me his wife. Give me my wife. He did a whole wedding for this man. He got a whole wedding party. The whole neighborhood is invited. He thinking, yes, it's crazy how the wedding is just sex, but I digress. It's dinner and sex. That's it. That's the wedding is sex. That's it. Okay, cool. And he's like, give me my wife so I can sleep with her. Now listen, that might make y'all feel away, but the truth is, the truth is, this set up for marriage in order to get sex from a free woman. That's how a lot of people got married. Because you can't get the milk without buying the cow. I know these are very crass sayings. I'm just saying, how mad can we be that the man was like, nah, give me, he been looking at her, licking his lips. First of all, he kissed her and cried. So he was already whipped when he first met her. The first time he saw her, he was like, ooh, baby, yes, let me marry her. And the daddy was like, psych, cool your jets. Go take a cold shower. In 7 days, 7 years, then you can get it. 7 years, he probably looking at her, grinning at her, smelling her, like all the things. And then he like, okay, woo, 6 years, and only got 2 months left. Holla at your boy. I'm gonna see you, girl. Holla at your boy. And then the time comes, and he's like, come on, give me my wife so I can sleep with her. So even though I feel like that seemed a little crass, I mean, I guess I get it because they wasn't doing nothing. They was waiting, and people ain't waiting these days. So then he gets in a obviously very dark room, super dark, so dark he can't see the face in front of him, or he wasn't even paying attention. That's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down to. Wake up in the morning, he ain't feeling blessings on him. Wake up in the morning, feel his blessings on. Woo! Wait a minute. Who was that? That's Leah. Girl, what you doing in this room? It's not Rachel. You know what I'm saying? That's gotta feel away. You know what I'm saying? He's gotta feel away about that. Rachel's gotta feel away about her sister. Leah's gotta feel away about her sister. I know the parents are, it really shows the relationship between these parents and these kids too. The parents are the ones doing all the conniving. Like Rebecca with her son, she was the one who told Jacob, go, I heard your daddy, go do this, da, da, da. But the kids did it, and they was not small kids. They wasn't 20, they wasn't 15, right? It was super dark, Angela. It was super dark, is all I can say. Super dark. It's no lights, it's no street lights, it's no none of that. Just the dark cut. So it probably was. He probably couldn't see his hand in front of his face. He was probably also so excited too. He worked for her for a long time, and he did get what he sold. He sold seeds of betrayal. You know what I'm saying? And switcheroo. It is very fitting that he got a switcheroo himself for a sibling, right? And so now, how does Leah feel? Because not Rebecca, Rachel could have been like, I'm definitely not about to marry you. I'm too cute for you. So it's a no for me, sir. You got my sister. It's unfortunate, but I'm going to wait till the next guy come to town because I got a pretty face and a small waist. They already said the girl was pretty and had a lovely figure. Pretty waist, pretty face, small waist. I ain't gotta put up with this. I can wait for my next dude. But she didn't, you know. I just think it's so many things, dynamics of relationship. Old Testament is a great place to look at the dynamics of relationships. Now, listen, I hope that this has blessed you. If there were any verses that really spoke to you, I would love for you to go to my website and download the Bold Method. It's free. CourageMolina.org. I really need to create a short link for it. Courage Molina. Go to couragemolina.org and get the Bold Method Journal for free. It comes with a few verses, but if you can multiply those pages, you can print them, you know, make multiple copies or whatever, and it's free. And then you can use a verse from today's Bible reading to go deeper in the word. Okay. They're gonna be like, this Bible is so ratchet. Who is this girl? All right. Okay. I love you guys. And today's Thursday. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be sure to share this channel with somebody today. You don't even have to share the video, share the channel. Be like, hey, this is great content. We're also in a challenge right now to get to 1,000 subscribers by December 23rd. Right. We're also in a challenge to get to 1,000 subscribers by December 23rd, which is my birthday. That's my birthday wish. So maybe you could share it with one new person every day. Like, hey, I know you don't maybe not know this, but this is a place where I go. I get great, great videos here. I just absolutely love the content here. Check it out. Subscribe. Help us get to 1,000. Hey, would you help my church get to 1,000 subscribers? Like, I don't know how that's so hard. It's not that hard. Text it to people. I got like 1,000 people in my phone. Text it, hey, could you help me? Could you help my church get to 1,000 subscribers? Just go here, subscribe to the channel. I think that you would love it. Right. Help us out. All right. I love y'all. I will see. Yeah. If everybody sent it to a new person every single day and said, "Can you help us reach this goal?" I think that people want to get behind good Christian content. It's a ton of wretched stuff. That's how I found out about Zeus. It was so good to her. It's all this wretchedness. It was so exciting, so entertaining that she told me about it. So much so, she was like, "I will give you my password so you can watch it." I was like, "Girl, I'm not about to watch it. I don't need your password." She was like, "Come on." You know what I'm saying? Like, she was pushing this. Like, I want y'all to push this YouTube channel for the church. So help us get to 1,000 subscribers. Just send the YouTube channel. Hey, yeah, and like the video. Just send this YouTube channel and be like, hey, this is a great channel. I love the content. This is also my church. Can you hit the subscribe button so we can hit 1,000 subscribers? That's it. All right. I love y'all. Thanks so much. Later.